Nice looking yard. There's pretty things in front. There's this big green lawn though, which I'm not a huge fan of lawns. But there's pretty, I wonder how many of, or any of these things edible? Not in this picture, they're not, but they could be edible. So I mean, it's a nice looking yard. Is that a nice looking yard? In Ontario, it is. In Saskatchewan, probably not. That's a weed, but that weed is a legume that's producing nitrogen to feed the lawn. So, it's depending on how you view it. But instead of having a lawn like that, what about a yard like this? Here's a yard in Saskatoon where they've already done a lot of the harvesting. But how about that one? Is that a nice looking yard? I think it looks great. 90% of the plants in this yard are edible. That's a vegetable garden. It's front yard landscaping. It's front yard urban agriculture. I think something like that, and we are seeing a lot more of this happening in Saskatoon, where we're taking the lawn out, or we're just decreasing the volume of lawn and putting in raised beds to grow vegetables. This yard got, I think it was over 100 and some odd pounds of vegetables from 4 beds in their front yard that they wouldn't have normally had, and they would have had a lawn instead. So apply water, apply fertilizer, cut it, throw away the grass clippings. Instead, apply water, apply fertilizer, and harvest food. So it makes sense to grow vegetables in your front yards, like this is doing. Edible landscaping, urban agriculture. Okay, this is the sidewalk here. There's the street over here. That piece in between, that's called the boulevard. You can use boulevard gardening in Saskatoon. And if you go to the city of Saskatoon and just Google the phrase boulevard gardening, you'll get a little fact sheet that comes up and talks about how to grow food on that area. There's some safety issues you need to worry about, but if you're careful, you can use that area to produce food. So we've learned a lot so far. You can grow fruits and vegetables in your backyard, in your front yard, or on boulevards. You can use edible plants, fruits and vegetables in flower beds. You can use them in your landscape. You can grow vegetables instead of lawns in your front yard. So then the question is, well, are there other parcels of land that aren't being used effectively? Are there other places where you can grow food in the city? I ask my students this, and they say, well, no, the city's full. It's like there's houses, there's everything, it's full. And I say, you're correct, you're right. But I give them the question then, how about going to Google Earth and just from top down, look and see if you can find other parcels of land. Well, here's an example. That's Wildwood Mennonite Church. They own this parcel of land. This is a fire hall. This is a seniors complex. So what is this thing in here? This parcel of land right in here is owned by the city, undeveloped. It's not doing anything. So these people can't really grow a lot of vegetables in their backyard because they're shady, very, very shady backyards. So the church said, well, we're going to create a community garden. We're going to bring the community together and they can grow vegetables here and we will help and coordinate that. So that's the Wildwood Mennonite Church Community Garden. It brings people together, people share, people interact. There's all sorts of social benefits associated with that, and you get food. So there's one example of a parcel of land being used effectively now that wasn't. That is 33rd Street going this way, and this is 2nd Avenue going up and down here. What is this? It's an entire or half a block of land that's not being used, or it wasn't being used. We worked with the city and we were given permission through the Saskatoon Food Bank and Learning Center to create the garden patch. So that blank parcel of land is now used for growing food. And last year we harvested over 16,000 pounds of food off that parcel of land. And the food is donated to the city, to the Saskatoon Food Bank and Learning Center. They coordinate this. It's an excellent example of using land effectively that was not being used before. Plus, we bring people together to grow the food, to harvest the food, and get people involved in food production. Are there others? Well, here's just another example here. What is that long green line right there? It's a right-of-way that could be used for food production. How about on campus? There's a parcel of land right there, not being used. No one walks on it, sits on it, or anything else, but that parcel of land could be used for food production. When you open your eyes and start looking, you will see there's lots of places in the city where you can grow food, such as another example here. This is a smaller area now because the highway's expanded, but there, big area of land that could be used for food production, and there's lots of these in the city. Okay, here's an example. 20th Street and Avenue K is going up and down here. This is the ASCII project. It is our project. This is Station 20 where CHEP is located, and we are partnered with CHEP, university's partnered with CHEP in the production of the ASCII project, which is here. This project has been moved. We moved it down to here now instead. So that's where the second arrow is. That's where the project is now. This whole parcel of land over here is owned by Imperial Esso. This used to be a gas station, and the soil is potentially contaminated, so we cannot grow food in the ground. It's full sunlight, we've got water, we've got everything. So because it's potentially contaminated, we can't grow in the ground. So what do? We grow in pots above ground. The actual garden itself is called Kiskananis, which is a Cree word for garden, and the project is called the ASCII project. ASCII is the Cree word for the land. We are using the land that was given to us to produce food, and that's an example of urban agriculture, commercial agriculture. We give the food away that we produce on the ASCII project. It's a fantastic example of food production. What we did, we flattened the area, we went in, and we put down 2 layers of cardboard, which is right there. You can see there's 2 layers of cardboard, and then we covered the whole thing with wood chips. If there's any water splashing on the ground, potentially the soil could be spread upward and contaminate, but if you put the cardboard and the wood chip down, then there's no contamination. And then we put down the pallets, and we started growing the vegetables in containers. These are food grade containers. They had oils, vegetable oils in them, so they're food grade. There's no chemicals, no pesticides in these ones. And we grow the vegetables in the containers on the pallets. And that is part of our ASCII project. I did the exact same thing as this on the stadium parkade across from campus, on the 5th floor of the stadium parkade. And it worked so well, we took that idea from the parkade and we moved it over here to what's called a brownfield reclamation, where a brownfield is a potentially contaminated soil, and we're growing food on that in a very safe way. Schools have lots and lots of trees on them. Here's an example of one, with some nice little landscaping here, put some landscaping. Well, how about if we put something like this incorporate that into the landscaping on school? And you probably know where I'm going. You've seen this white kind of tree before. That's the apple tree. Why not put apple trees on campus, on schoolyards in Saskatoon? And when you have a break, just get out there and, grab an apple, munch on an apple. That is cool.